Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another video. Today we'll be talking about the 3 a.m. effect, right? How to reprogram your life using the 3 a.m. effect. So, as always, we'll go over the synopsis. So, what the 3 a.m. effect actually is, why you think differently at night, what the 3 a.m. state reveals about you, why it feels powerful but nothing changes, the subconscious role in the 3 a.m. effect, why motivation disappears by morning, the difference between clarity and change, how the reprogramming mechanism, how to convert nightly clarity into day action, and the 3 a.m. reprogramming system. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, as always, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, let's get right into it. So, what the 3 a.m. effect actually is. It is a state of reduced external interference, right? So at 3 a.m., the world stops demanding your attention. There are no notifications, no need to perform. This creates a rare condition where your mind no longer needs to react, right? It is observing. And for most of your day is spent responding to stimuli. At night, that loop breaks, and your brain finally has space to process what it has been accumulating beneath the surface, right? So, in overarching thing, an overarching way to say that is during the day, all right, you have so many notifications, so many things coming at you, people needing things, job needing things, a lot, right? But at 3 a.m., the world is quiet, right? It doesn't need a lot from you. It doesn't need this, that, and the third. Your mind finally has time to relax and think about all the stuff that it needs to get through throughout the day, right? So then you have a shift from reaction to reflection because during the day, your brain prioritizes speed and efficiency, constantly filtering and responding. And at night, that urgency disappears. The mind transitions into reflection, replaying decisions, analyzing patterns, and questioning direction. Now, this is not new intelligence. It is unused awareness finally being accessed, right? So all this stuff that is finally coming to the forefront of your mind is stuff that you've always wanted to talk about, or you've always wanted to do, but you never had the correct environment to do it in. Because, again, during the day, you have so much stuff coming at you and so many tasks coming at you that your brain kind of puts it in the back of your mind. But at night, you don't have a lot of things that need your direct attention. So now you finally have time to do the things you want to do, right? A temporary collapse of mental noise. Your thoughts don't become smarter at 3 a.m., they become clearer because competing signals are gone. The constant input that shapes your thinking during the day fades, allowing internal signals to rise without being drowned out. And why you think differently at night, right? You have a lowered cognitive filter. The part of your brain responsible for filtering and controlling thoughts becomes less dominant when you're tired, right? This allows ideas that would normally be dismissed or ignored to surface more freely, creating the feeling of raw and unfiltered thinking, right? Again, so those thoughts that were sort of blurred out before and that you couldn't express freely are now, it's not in the muddy water as much. It's now coming into the clear water. You can see it more clearly now. It's like having a pair of goggles in muddy water, right? Before you couldn't open your eyes without the goggles, but now you can because the goggles are there to protect your sight. Whereas 3 a.m. is there to protect your thoughts, right? You can think more clearly. You can perform better. It's like certain things you can do better at 3 a.m. because nothing is distracting you, right? And you have detachment from identity performance. During the day, you operate within roles: employee, student, friend, and at night, those roles disappear. Without the need to maintain them, your thinking becomes less constrained by how you should act and more aligned with how you actually feel. And the isolation enhances introspection because being alone removes comparison, judgment, and external validation. This forces your attention inward, where unresolved thoughts and suppressed ideas exist. The absence of noise amplifies internal dialogue. All right. We focus most of our time on the outward world, right? I got to pay this, I got to do this task. I got to take care of this person, right? You're sort of putting on a mask for who you actually are during the day, right? When people see you, right? It's like a quote that said you're a different person with everybody else, right? But at 3 a.m., for the most part, you're alone. Or if you have a partner or wife, husband, whatever the case may be, they might be sleeping. So again, you're alone, right? You're alone with your thoughts, right? And those are the times where you can really sit down and look inward and reflect on what you've really been wanting to do. And that's why a lot of people get that 3 a.m. motivation. It's because all the stuff that has been building up within them is finally bubbling up to the surface. And now they have a chance to act on what they want to do, right? What the 3 a.m. state reveals. It reveals the gap between intention and behavior. At 3 a.m., you become aware of the difference between what you say you want, and what you consistently do. This gap is usually hidden during the day by distraction and rationalization. And the patterns that you've normalized are behaviors that feel routine during the day begin to look irrational when observed in silence. You start questioning habits that you previously accepted without thought. Right? Again, we've been programmed to think that something is normal, all because society has been telling you, oh, this is normal, right? Or you've grown up in a way that you were just raised to say, oh, this is normal, right? But at 3 a.m., during the night when you're alone by yourself, you finally have a time to really reflect on, is this truly normal? Is this normal for me, right? Is this what I really want for my life, right? Your suppressed thoughts and avoided truths. Ideas you push away during the day, whether about your direction, discipline, or environment, begin to resurface when there is nothing left to suppress them. And your real priorities begin to come to the surface, right? What your mind gravitates toward in silence often reflects what actually matters, not what you've convinced yourself matters. So, essentially, what you think in your own head, right? What you truly feel deep down matters to you, right? Whether that be family, a certain career path you've wanted, whatever the case may be, right? Whatever matters to you finally starts to come to the surface. Because during the day, right, people need you, your job needs you, this needs you, that needs you. But at 3 a.m., for the most part, nothing needs you. What needs you is your true self, right? The thing you've been avoiding. The ideas you've been avoiding, that's what truly needs you at 3 a.m. And why it feels powerful, but nothing changes. Clarity is mistaken for progress, right? Understanding what needs to change feels productive, but it creates no actual change. The brain confuses insight with action, giving you a false sense of movement. And that is a state-dependent thinking, right? The 3 a.m. mindset is tied to a specific state. And when that state disappears, so does clarity. And without structure, the insight cannot survive outside the environment. And that directly results into no translation into behavior. Because most people stop at realization without converting thoughts into specific actions. Nothing is carried forward into real life, right? Thoughts can only remain thoughts until you bring them into fruition, right? A thought is just an idea that needs to be manifested into the physical world. That's all it is, right? Like whether you have a bottle, a gaming mouse, a gaming chair, right? A house, whatever it is. These were once ideas and thoughts that came to people's heads. And if they stayed thoughts, that's what they just would have been, just thoughts. But these people realize, okay, I need to bring this into the physical world. How can I do this? All right. At 3 a.m., all those thoughts, all those ideas that you've wanted to do are finally coming to the forefront. But sometimes it can feel like a lot. So you just keep them as thoughts, right? And it makes you feel good on the inside because your body doesn't know the difference between what's actually real and what's not, right? Your mind plays a trick on itself thinking that, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. However, right, that dopamine hit you get from thinking that can lead you to stop in your tracks, if that makes sense, right? Because again, it doesn't translate into action, right? You're thinking about it all the time. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do that. But if you're not putting it into the real world, if you're not putting it into real life, then it means nothing at the end of the day, right? The subconscious role in the 3 a.m. state is reduced suppression of subconscious signals, right? During the day, your conscious mind filters and overrides subconscious input. At night, that filter weakens, allowing deeper thoughts and patterns to surface. This, in turn, gets you increased visibility of internal programming, right? Habits, beliefs, and automatic responses become easier to observe when external noise is removed. You begin to see the system that normally runs unnoticed. Emotional signals become clearer. Without distraction, emotional responses become more noticeable. These emotions are often tied directly to subconscious beliefs, right? What you believe in your subconscious, right? It doesn't always come to the forefront because, again, you're distracted by what's going on during the day. But at 3 a.m., right, when the night's quiet, when the world is quiet, and you finally have time to look inward, all your subconscious beliefs start to come forward. Why motivation disappears by morning, right? It is the reintroduction of external noise. The moment your day begins, your attention is pulled outward again, and the clarity you had is replaced by immediate demands and distractions. The return to default patterns. Your subconscious operates based on repetition and without deliberate interruption. Without deliberate interruption, it always reverts to familiar behaviors, right? And the loss of emotional intensity. The urge you felt at night fades because the emotional context has changed. Without that intensity, the desire to act weakens. Again, right? All the priorities you have during the day overcome the strong emotion you had at 3 a.m. because those priorities can affect you present day. However, that strong emotion you feel towards that 3 a.m. thought can always happen in the future. So you push it off to the future because those present day priorities take precedence over your 3 a.m. future, right? Your 3 a.m. thought. So that's why it's always hard to sort of convince yourself that, okay, I want to act upon this 3 a.m. thought, but all these priorities I have during the day are outweighing what I really want to do, if that makes sense. The difference between clarity and change, right? Clarity identifies a problem. Knowing what needs to change is only the first step. It provides direction, but does not create movement. Change requires repetition. Real change happens when new behaviors are repeated enough to become automatic. This process is slow and requires consistency. Insight without action is useless. Thoughts have no impact unless they are converted into behavior. Without execution, clarity is wasted, right? Again, ideas that don't come forward into the real life are just ideas that, in simple terms, never come to life, right? They're just ideas. Ideas will stay ideas until you put forth the effort to bring them into fruition. The reprogramming mechanism. Behavior overrides thought, right? The brain changes through action, not intention. Doing something differently repeatedly is what rewires patterns. Repetition builds new defaults. Each time you perform a new behavior, you strengthen a new pathway. Over time, this becomes your automatic response. Old patterns fade through disuse. When you stop reinforcing old behaviors, they weaken. The brain naturally prunes unused pathways. That works for good and bad actions, right? Now, if you're trying to get rid of the bad actions, right, the things you know that are holding you back, simply stop doing it or do it less, right? It will begin to naturally atrophy if you start doing it less. Now, it's easier said than done, but we'll go over how, you can actually utilize that. But step number one, always, always, always remember to try and do it less. The less you can do something that's bad for you, the better it will be for you in the future. It's very simple, but it works. How to convert night clarity into day action. Capture the exact thought. Write down what you realize without simplifying it. The details matter because it reflects your true thinking. Reduce it to one action. Turn the insight into a simple behavior you can execute. Simplicity increases the chance of follow through. Attach it to a specific moment and decide when you will act. Vague plans rarely survive transition into real life. All right. Keep your plan as detailed as possible and get any single idea that you have at 3 a.m., write it down, write it down. Even if it seems stupid at the time, write it down. Because it's better to have a stupid idea and it work than a vague idea or no idea at all. And you don't know if it doesn't work because you never tried it, because you didn't write down that idea and you don't remember. All right, remove friction before execution. Prepare your environment so that action requires minimal effort. The easier it is, the more likely it happens, right? It's like with anything. All right, if you want to go to the gym, set your gym clothes up on the chair the night before, right? You want to get your homework right, set your homework stuff up on your desk right before, right? Prepare your environment. Preparation is key for everything, right? Preparation is key for everything. Because when you prepare, you're ready. And when you're ready, you can act. And you can act easily. Lastly, the application. The 3 a.m. reprogramming system. Night is the clarity phase, right? Utilize that. Because when the 3 a.m. state hits, document your thoughts immediately. Capture what you're avoiding, what needs to change, and what actions stand out, right? Any little thing that comes to your thought that you deem important, write it down. Please write it down. Morning conversion phase. Take one insight and turn it into a specific executable action. Keep it simple and clearly defined. During the day is the execution phase, right? After work, after school, after whatever you're doing, follow through regardless of how you feel, right? This is where reprogramming actually begins. And repetition, the reinforcement phase. Repeat the same behavior daily until it becomes automatic. Consistency transforms effort into identity, right? The more you do something, the more you become it. And the core rule, the 3 a.m. effect reveals the truth, but only repeated actions turn that truth into a different life, right? So the core of all this, right? Write down what you need to do at 3 a.m. Once you write it down, be as detailed as possible. Write down everything. Execute it during the morning. Prep yourself during the morning, right? Right before work, right before everything, all right? Take that idea, get ready. Get ready to do it. After work, after everything you've done during the day, execute it. Execute it whether it's good, execute it whether it's bad, execute it whether it's subpar. No matter how you feel, just execute, all right? And I know a lot of people don't work during the day. Don't work in the morning. It's like the opposite. So you can take these exact steps and flip it, all right? So if you work during the night, do all this during the morning, right? Do all this during a time in your life where everything is quiet and nobody needs anything from you. I hope this helped. I will see you guys in the next video.